Hey guys, so if you want to improve your riding, absolutely, the only real way to do that is to take regular lessons, right? We all know that, but it can be tough. We're so busy. But you know what? It's a brand new weird world that we live in, and there's no reason that you can't try out virtual lessons. So anyways, I've been teaching more and more virtual lessons, and honestly, they're a lot of fun. As an instructor, whenever I feel like I'm thrown out of my comfort zone a little bit, I feel like it makes me a better teacher. So just that part alone is pretty awesome. But also, like, even for the students, to be able to see a student in their own environment, there's something nice about that, right? Like if they haul here and take a lesson, their horse might be different here than they are at home, or they might have different habits here than what they do at home. So I get to see some of that stuff, you know? If you're an instructor and you're thinking about teaching virtual lessons, what does it take? I will say it's not as easy to give virtual lessons as it is in-person lessons. Even though, like, there is a camera that they could walk up and see me, for the most part, they're riding around on a horse. They're not looking at a video screen, right? So I can't say, like, this part of your body right here, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. I can't walk up and poke somebody. So you have to verbally explain everything. You can't show them. So that's a biggie. And a lot of people are very visual learners, which means you have to be really good at wording visualizations. So that's one thing. Another thing is the camera quality is usually pretty shoddy. Pivo is a little bit better than Zoom when it works, but Pivo can also be temperamental. So that stuff is an issue. So I do a lot of watching the horse's general outline and letting the horse tell me what the student is doing. So I might not be able to see that the rider's like outside rein is gripping to death, right? Like in person, I can see that. On the video screen, when I'm just looking at my tiny little screen, you know, trying to go, oh, what's that person doing? You know, I can't tell. But if the horse constantly will not, let's say, bend to the right, I just start going down through the list, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, well, one of the things that keeps a horse from bending to the right is if the rider's sitting to the left, or if the rider has a death grip on her left hand. And I'll just start mentioning those things. So you do have to be a pretty darn experienced instructor, because you have to know what the common issues are, and then you just start going down through your list, right? So if a horse isn't bending to the right, okay, check to make sure your left rein isn't too grippy. Check to make sure that you've got your weight down through your right stirrup and you're not hanging off to the left. Are you opening the inside hand? And just start going down through the list. The other thing that I do as a virtual instructor is I ask a ton of questions. And this is great. And I've actually started doing this more in my live lessons because of teaching virtually. I will ask the questions like, how does your horse feel in both reins right now? Are they heavier in one than the other? You know, do you feel like you have even weight in both stirrups? I just start asking those questions. Sometimes I ask really just general, how does that feel? But I don't get as much feedback on those questions. But to ask things like, what percentage of the contact do you feel like you have in your left hand versus your right hand? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? Those questions are awesome, because not only does that give me more feedback than anything I would ever see with my own eyes, but it really gets the students thinking. So that part's been really cool. In fact, during one of my lessons, our video went out completely, and 20 minutes of the lesson was just audio. Thankfully, it was a pretty good rider. So I just started shooting off questions and having her answer the questions, and it actually was a pretty fantastic lesson. So anyways, if you're nervous about teaching virtual lessons, maybe ask if some of your already existing students would like to take a free virtual lesson, and that way you can kind of like dip your toes in the water, you know, a little bit slowly, and go from there. But and as a student, if you're like, oh, geez, I don't know about this whole virtual lesson stuff, there's two different ways that I've worked with people that we've done it. One of the ways is through a pivo, and there you don't need a camera person. And then the other way that we've done it is through a Zoom call, and the person taking the lesson needs 2 phones and an extra person. So usually the rider will log into Zoom, turn off their camera, but just use the audio, strap their phone to their arm, and in that way we have audio. And then the person videoing for them also logs into the Zoom meeting, and they turn on their camera. And then I, as the instructor, and as the person who sent the Zoom link, I can set the person videoing, I can set theirs as the spotlight for everyone. So that way we all see their camera. So that way when the rider's talking to me, the Zoom doesn't jump to their non-video, right? But anyways, yeah, so I'll be honest, I've been teaching virtual lessons all over the country, some out of the country. I actually have some more I have to schedule. We've been so busy the last 2 weeks. I have all these people I haven't even scheduled a lesson with yet, that are kind of like in a waiting list right now. I'll get to you guys next week, I promise. Lisa will be back from the World Show and with Western Dressage, and I have some other things sorted out, and I can like get back to that kind of stuff. But yeah, dude, guys, like, I understand that getting to lessons is hard, but quit using that as an excuse. You know, just because you don't have a trailer, just because somebody won't come to your area, you know, the world is there for you. You can literally take a lesson with anybody on the planet nowadays. So quit the excuses, take your stupid lessons, become a better rider. Peace out, guys. Maybe I'll see you in a virtual lesson someday.